Okay, so the third activity like we want to introduce here is called Relational Analytics Dashboard, and so we call it RAD for short. And what is it? So it is an interactive in-class activity, so people can work in teams, and people can also like work remotely if they want individually, and then discuss the takeaway from it. So 3 goals to play this activity. So first, a lot of organizations, a lot of companies, nonprofit organizations, they're using internal communication platforms nowadays, like Microsoft Teams, Slack, and they are also collecting our data to inform their decision making, and they construct the communication network, this kind of relational network, and get some key insights from it for the decision making in terms of hiring, firing people, restructure the organization. So this activity is that we want to mimic that process. So we provide a dashboard that have those like hypothetical data at people's like communication network, and we want to see like how student team, like how teams like in the classroom, they will weigh different factors like in the write-up or like in this dashboard for their decision making, like for team assembly. And the second goal here is, so we have the digital traces that we use to build this dashboard, and we also have some non-digital traces results. For example, like we give people's background of like their education background, like their gender, like this all kind of information. So we want to see like how they combine, like how they evaluate all those information in their like team discussion processes. And a third is like very important. So we also want to give students an opportunity to discuss like what is the social implication, what is the broader social organizational implications for those companies to use this kind of technology, to use this kind of platform for the organizational processes. Some of the ethical issues are also very important to be discussed. So, okay, let me move on. Okay, so we created like 2 YouTube videos. One is the introduction of the dashboard itself. So it is an 8-minute video. I'm not going to show you at this time, but I will just going to demonstrate it live. Oops.
Oh, that's okay.
So how can I exit? Yeah, and then we go to the dashboard.
There's a link.
You can also click the link on the teaching deck, so you can have the access to our RAD website as well. So this is the main website of RAD. So along with the 2 YouTube videos, one is introduction to the dashboard itself, and the other is the case study. So we want to give people a hypothetical scenario, so people know like the background of like which team they want to assemble, the purpose of the about the activity. So, oops, where is the login thing? It should be there. There should be a login button, right? It's still loading.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, maybe just a case study.
Okay.
Meanwhile.
So while the website is loading, I will briefly talk about the case study.
Just internet connection, I guess.
I can talk about like on the teaching deck. Okay.
I can share my screen real quick.
yeah.
Okay, so if you can share your screen, that would be great, Brennan.
Yeah, just stop the.
Um,
yeah.
Okay. Okay, so you can take a, yeah, so here is the website and you click log in and enter and you will see like the main interface of the dashboard. Brendan, can you look up by name, for example, Cameron? So all those data are fake data. So like those are not like actual employees like in the company. So we just made it up. Yeah, so you go to the first tab. Okay, yeah, so begin typing and select employee. So if you can do Cameron here. Okay, so like we can select some of names on this platform and you can see the picture of Cameron, the job title, the department they belong to, and here personal network means their communication network. So it is constructed based on their data left on the enterprise social media for platform like Slack. And if we go to the departmental network, we can see that his network in his specific department. So we can see here he's an isolate in his department. So he is not talking to anyone else in his department. And we can also see this formal structure of the department as well. So Cameron is kind of at the lower level, like in this case, right-hand side. And if we go to the likelihood of generating a good idea, so these scores are calculated based on people's network, and this specific score is calculated based on the burst constraint. So if you have a very high burst constraint, that means the likelihood of generating good idea is low. So like all the statistics is based on like the network measures. And then risk of resignation. So this is the turnover, like how likely like people will resignate from the organization. And this is also calculated based on people's communication network. So it's saying when people they have the intention to turn over and they will kind of starting to disengage with their coworkers in the past like 2 months of this time frame. So this percentage is calculated based on their connectedness to their coworkers in the last 2 months period of time of their communication network. And lastly, if you go to the availability to generate buy-in, so this is a buy-in network. So yeah, so like you can get like all this information like calculated based on people's communication network from this platform, and you can also see the organizational structure. And Brennan, if you can go to the design high performance teams. So this is a very cool feature. So we can choose like all different people like to put them in the employee pool, and then we can drag those people like to different teams. And we can have like different team options to see like hypothetically if we put those people like in a single team, what would the internal cohesion and external range of those teams would be. So for example, Brennan put Cameron, Edna, and James in a single team. So team option A, we can see that the internal cohesion of that team will be 0. So people don't get along with each other like in this specific team, but the external range of that team will be very high. So that means like people are connecting like with different unique individuals in the organization. Then based on the network theory, their likelihood for innovating, like ideating will be high because they have non-redundant information from all like other people. Okay, so people can try out different options like for those teams. Yeah, so those are the main like feature of this dashboard specifically. And how do we want to implement them in a case study? So I can take the screen sharing, Brandon. Thank you. So far, any questions?
Sorry.
No, it's great. Yeah.
The case study, I believe you mentioned was hypothetical, was that?
Exactly.
Okay,
Exactly.
have you already tested this with, real world clients or companies?
No, so this is actually a good point, but yeah, so we are going to discuss like in later. There are some like ethical implications about it, like to test it in the real world company. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So this is a case study, and like the link of the case study is also on this main Brad website, and so you can click the case study PDF, so you can have the access to the write-up of the case study itself. And I will just go back to our slide stack to give you some context, like highlight some key points from the case study. Okay, so this case study, we made it up, and the company is called Saving Milgram Health. And Kioski, it was one of the main contributor of writing up this case study. And we call it Milgram because, yeah, Milgram study is kind of an internal network joke. And then House because we wrote it. So Kioski wrote it, not me, but Kioski wrote it at the beginning of the pandemic. So it's a very timely and relevant issue here. So in this company, it's a house insurance company, and Sarah just succeeded the former CEO who was forced to resign in midst of a financial scandal. And this company, Milgram Health, is one of the nation's largest provider of the house insurance and the services. And Sarah really want to wrap up the company's information technology to enable their health services. Background: pandemic hit the country, and Sarah argued that the CEO of the company argued that like social distance and remote work might favor a surge in demand for offering a growing number of startups that were natively designed as online platforms. So they want to have their built-in like native social networking online platforms. And so this is a task of this case study. So she proposed that she wants to assemble a Milgram healthcare for all, so MAHA in short, task force, and there will be 4 people in this task force, and they will charge to spend no more than 6 months to develop new ideas and their like personnel, individual, family, digitally enabled healthcare plans. And this 4 people, they will work as a team to incorporate information, and this team should be highly innovative. Okay, so this is people's goal. So recommend the best 4 people task force from at least 4 departments at the company. So people have experience in managing portfolios of communication products, coordinates the campaigns, study the proposed packages, and has insight on how to acquire and retain talents. So basically we want one person from at least like one department to ensure the diversity of the team. And the company yeah, so the company has implemented this enterprise social media platform that tracks people's organizational network, and the data is available on our red platform dashboard. So which allows for the exploration of survey data and give you some insights into the organization, the teams, and the personal network formation. Okay, so this is our candidate pool. So we have Cameron, Raymond, Maria in the production. Like we have like 3 people like from each department that student want to consider for this MAHA task force. And there are some factors people should take into account. The good idea, generate buy-in, risk of recognition, other factors like in the read up that we didn't mention here. And the team factor, which is the internal cohesion and external range, which is like displayed in the dashboard. So there's a structural signature of risk recognition, like we've mentioned before. Internal cohesion, external range. So these 2 measures are calculated based on this Harvard Business Review article called Better People Analytics. So it's looking at the balance between the internal density and the external range of the team network. Okay, and the people, so we will put people like in teams, put students into different teams, and they will discuss the scenario and play with the RAD dashboard for around 15 minutes to 20 minutes, and we'll ask them to submit their responses, so their nomination for the 4-person team to this Google form. So as educators, we can get like people's like nominations and like how they think about the team, and they will also like enter like their rationale to choose this candidate pool. So we can use it as a reference. Access to the dashboard, the link, and submit your response to this specific Google form. And debrief, this is very important part, because after people submitted their responses to the Google form, like we want to give people some opportunity to reflect on why it is important and what are some main takeaways from this activity. So the first question we would ask people is, to what extent did the network data reinforce or change what you might have chosen based on the reading material? Second is, what criteria did you use to select your task force members, and how did you weigh this criteria when you selected the task force members? And other information that I did not mention here, like for example, we would encourage people to think about diversity. Like we didn't explicitly include the diversity information, but based on the pictures, like people's pictures on the platform, we can tell, oh, is it female or male, or like the race of the people. So we will ask people if they take those into consideration. Maybe the team have a very high internal cohesion and a very high external range, but the team is not very diverse in terms of those demographic information. So this would be something that we encourage people to think about. And the high risk of recognition, did this increase or decrease your likelihood of putting them into that task force? And other descriptive factors, so I already talked about the gender parity, and what are the ethics of organization using a tool like our like RAD for decision making. So going back to your question, so a lot of people are concerned the organization are collecting our data and it's not respecting like our privacy. So it's kind of an ongoing process now, the negotiation between the employees and the employer, how we can make everything transparent at the same time, protecting the privacy. So we will not use this data to make some we will not like fully rely on this data to make decisions in the organization. And those are some of the like bar chart like we can create directly from the Google form, because it's Google form. So they will create those bar chart and pie chart like for us like very fast, so that we can show people like immediately like how other classmates in the class like choose, and what is the statistics of the teams they assemble. And those are some example of like students responses to the Google form. And this is another like example team like we will show people, because something like we realized when we ran the activity in the class, people really relies on this dashboard, and things can become like really competitive. So people really want to chase a very high score of internal cohesion and external range like on that platform, and they kind of test out all different like combinations of the two like possibilities of those team members, and to see if we can get a good score. And so usually we'll show people this kind of case. So we have a very good score like on internal cohesion and external range. But if we take a look at the individual level factors, the buy-in for all those 4 people are kind of low. So this is also an educational opportunity like for people to think about like to what extent we should take into account the information from the dashboard itself, and how to weigh those criteria. Yeah, so to summarize, the teaching point of it is people analytics, network centrality, organizational learning, and the target audience can be like all levels. It can be undergrad, grad student, and also like MBA student, executive audience. We have 2 YouTube videos and people can watch. One is introduction to the dashboard and one is introduction to the case study. So usually we'll just ask people to watch those 2 YouTube videos before class, so people get prepared for that. And then actual exercise activity, 30 minutes, 20 minutes to 30 minutes, and we'll do a debrief for 15 minutes to 20 minutes. So that's all I have for Brad. Any questions? Yes,
So the
Marilyn.
network centralities, where was that? Or couldn't you show everything today?
Network.
Teaching points, you have network in your summary. Because like, for example, it'd be very interesting, who's the highest eigenvector? Who's the highest, and the first combination?
So, for this exercise, a lot of things we rely on is Monsieur and Paul Bernardi. They wrote the Harvard Business Review, and which kind of using these network centrality ideas into 6 what they call the network signatures. And these signatures are somehow aligned with like vector centrality or like network degrees and stuff, but like they don't use the technical terms. So they convert it into like influence signatures or so that's kind of we try to accommodate certain audiences. So that's kind of what the dashboard is mainly showing.
Yeah.
Right, I may have mentioned this, but I'm a little jet lagged before. Can we customize this case study?
Sure.
Yeah, absolutely. This is just our purpose of creating case study.
Because I'm inside the dashboard. How do I actually customize it? Like, how do I change it?
Oh, the dashboard is very difficult to. It's not that possible like to customize the dashboard itself or the database, but you can customize the write-up of the case study, so the whole context, like the PDF file. Yeah, yeah, but not this dashboard. Yeah, but you can make up like all the other like information, actual information, like all the characters like we put in the dashboard. Yeah.
Purpose, metrics.
Yeah. And it's good because like people don't need to create account like on this dashboard and people will just like take a look at it. So there is no like other,
Only downside is that it's sometimes very slow.
yeah, that's
So
a
we ask-
downside.
They got 100 students, we divide it into the 20 teams, only the 20 people are going to sign into the dashboard.
Yeah.
And then the rest of the team members. Kind of share to look at the screen together.
Any other questions? If not, we'll